I'm Amy Trowbridge Yates, and I'm a senior writer at Hallmark Cards, where I've worked for 16 years.
What does a writer at Hallmark do?
I come up with the words that are going to go in the cards. It doesn't mean that I get to actually write the cards with a pencil or marker, but I make up what will go on the cover and the inside of the cards. Sometimes I do funny cards with dogs, and sometimes I do sweet cards about love, and sometimes I do kid cards, more dog cards, all kinds of cards mostly. And after I come up with the words that go on the cover and the inside of the card, then they go to a designer who makes the cards colorful and have illustrations and lettering and make it look really pretty, and about a year later it'll be on your shelf for you to buy.
Were you always a creative person?
When I was a little girl, I always loved being creative and using my imagination. I liked to make up stories and songs and dances and plays, and I also loved to write cards. My very first story was a story about a frog whose legs could not stop jumping. I knew I loved creativity and imagination, and it just so happens that I grew up here in Kansas City, so I grew up attending Kaleidoscope, and my favorite things here to use in creativity were the melted crayons, and of course everyone's favorite, the bow maker.
What does it take to be a good writer?
In order to be a good writer, you really kind of have to be a good reader and be someone who pays attention to things all the time. So because my job as a Hallmark writer requires me to speak to all different kinds of relationships, and sometimes I'm speaking for grandmas, and sometimes I'm speaking for dads, and sometimes I'm speaking for kids or people who've lost loved ones, I really have to pay attention to how do people communicate, whether it's through text message or on TV or online. How are people talking? What are they saying? What type of language do they use? And that helps me come up with ideas. And sometimes I just have to go read or watch TV or go online or go on social media to just really kind of get in the heads of other people.
What do you love about working at Hallmark?
So one of the great things is my job is changing all the time. So sometimes I might write something for social media or an article, or I might write these books, or I might write kid cards one week, and then graduation, and then Valentine's Day, and then funny, silly Disney cards the next week. So my job changes all the time, and I get to try new skills and use my creative talents in a lot of different ways. So if you're interested in writing, my advice to you is to keep at it. Keep a notebook and always jot down any ideas, no matter how bad they are, because believe me, so many great ideas started out as a pretty bad idea. And that's one thing about being a writer, is a good writer writes and rewrites and changes and edits and writes and writes and writes again until they really get to the place that they want to be. So keep at it, be a good reader, practice spelling and editing and your punctuation. You've got to know where those periods go. But more than anything, just keep dreaming, imagining, and writing, and using all those skills, and you'll eventually become a really great writer, and you can write anything you want.
For more creative inspiration, be sure to explore our website at hallmarkkaleidoscope.com and check out our other program offerings, or call 816-274-8300.